Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Those of you who are new to the group, I'm Michelle Quay. I am a visibility and confidence coach. And you are in this group because you love me and I love you. So welcome to the show. This is a podcast and also a video live stream where I bring a lot of amazing coaches, speakers, authors to share their inspirational journey and their business so that you get the motivation, the right size of nudge to get you moving forward in your career, in your business, in your goal. And today I am thrilled because I invited one of my IPEC fellow coach, and Allison Levine. She is an IPEC certified relationship coach, facilitator, public speaker who loves helping women to be their best and doing better. She is also a loving wife and devoted mom. She has a very busy schedule, but how you're going to hear about how she grow her audience organically despite of all the amazing stuff that she does. It is her greatest privilege to work with individuals and couples who truly want to improve their relationship, showing up and being authentic, moving forward in their lives, and to have more purpose, connection, and clarity. Allison's definition of bravery is the ability to let go of the entire journey and just being brave in taking the first step in the direction that you are going. So without further ado, I like to welcome Allison to share her bravery journey.
Good morning, Michelle. Thank you for having me.
Good morning, Allison. Welcome. Welcome to the
Good morning.
show. Super excited to have you here. I know we connected via a couple of emails, and I think it was from one of the 100 empowering question that I had to share. Yes. And then we start talking. And one of the things that was really, truly inspiring about you is, you know, I look around and I see all these coaches who's working so hard in marketing themselves, creating content, including myself. I create a lot of content and just being out there and trying to grow the business. And when I was reading your email, I got this sense of just really calm, peaceful, like, yeah, I just grow it organically. So I'm like, yes, you are my woman, and I need you to come in and speak to all of us. So tell us about yourself, like where you're from and what inspired you to become a coach.
Terrific. Well, I live in Southern California. And for the past, honestly, 25 years, prior to my journey in becoming a coach, I really was a full-time mom. I have 2 grown daughters, and was really fulfilled in doing that. And then, like those women who choose to work in the home and not outside of the home, at some point your children launch into their very beautiful individual lives, and that is their plan and your goal for them, and you find yourself unemployed, actually. And so at that time, I was really looking for more meaningful work. It honestly wasn't my vision at the time to become a relationship coach, but I really wanted to, what I call, have more of a life of contribution and less consumption, and what was going to be my next right step. And so 4 years ago, I enrolled in a 2-year paraprofessional counseling program through a university to learn how to become a counselor, an unlicensed counselor. That journey led me to work at a low-cost counseling center alongside those individuals who wanted to become licensed therapists. And during that time, I learned all the training required to become a therapist. And after 1.5 years of doing that and working with my clients individually, I really determined that I was a much more solution-focused individual, and that coaching was the right next step for me. And really what inspired me was that I had a very young couple come into my office, really on the brink of divorce. They had already been separated, and their parents literally forced them to come to give therapy their last hope. But I was really already a coach. I wasn't doing the kind of work therapists were doing. I was still forward moving, very solution focused. And I took this very struggling couple and I worked with them, and as their relationship blossomed, so did my curiosity about, wow, I think I could do this, like beyond being a volunteer counselor. So then I reached out and I found IPEC, and I made the decision to do the IPEC program, continued working at the counseling center, refining my skills as a coach in this center. And here we are now, 2 years post that decision, and running a thriving coaching practice, primarily working with couples, although I do work with individual women as well. And it's just been a great journey. And I think the most satisfying thing that's happened in all this time is about 2 months ago, that same first couple that really sparked my curiosity about working with couples, particularly, just had their first baby. And even though we haven't worked together in a couple of years, they sent me a photo of their new baby, thanking me again for the work we did together and really how it transformed their relationship. So that's a little bit about my journey, and the working with couples, I would say, is really my jam, more than, even if I'm working only with the wife of a couple or the partner of a couple, but really about relationships is what I find most inspiring.
As we're talking about relationship, because I know that was like one of my biggest struggle is in relationship, and I started to notice like a lot of what I do in business also translate to my relationship to relationship. So like how do I present myself, that first impression, and how do I go out there and get noticed? And so a lot of how I was in the dating world, it also translates into my business world. So a lot of that still comes to it. And so I'm curious because, you know, I work with clients who have experience. I'm not a relationship coach, so it's one of the area where I always have to refer out. And when I hear you say the couple relationship, can you walk me through that process of how you work with them? Like, do they have to give you consent from both parties, or how does that work?
So most of the couples that I work with, I do work with both parties within the couple. And so in my pre-work, I have a discovery call with each of them individually to assess really what are their ultimate goals for their relationship. I'm going to grab something right behind me. So I'm going to share that my philosophy is this, that when you're in a relationship, even the relationship you and I are having right now, really what's going on is there's actually 3 people in this room or that are talking. Your point of view, my point of view, and our relationship's point of view. We call it the heart stone. This is the space that lives between us. This is what's going on between us. So really my process is to educate them that they don't have to change, either of them, any way that they don't want to, that they are who they are beautifully and individually. But what we're going to do is we're going to develop the space between them. We're going to build their heart stone so that the 2 of them come together like as if this was a plant that needed to be watered and nourished and raised and pruned and dusted. Like what kind of good stuff have they put into their heartstone? So that's really my process, is getting them to understand that their relationship is bigger than the 2 individuals, that they are their own separate beings, but that together they're building this 3rd entity. And that's the entity that we're going to focus on. My job, I work for this. I don't work for either of them. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And I'm picturing this, how does that translate into business? I'm like, oh wow, there's like the mutual sweet spots, right?
Exactly. It absolutely translates because every relationship is coming together. Conflict occurs when one individual is so determined to make the other person come over what I call to their side of the bridge. In other words, that conflict occurs because we believe in order to be connected, we have to agree. Well, actually, the only person that has to agree is the heart. 2 people can disagree, but what they're working on is an agreement on the center. The agreement is about the relationship. So in business, with friends, with family members, I mean, it's the same. It's all the same.
Yeah, totally. So how do we find that sweet spot, that heartstone?
I think it comes from having each individual define their vision out loud. So it's really the me, you, and we. right? So each individual has their own individual vision for what they're looking for. Even when you're engaging in a business transaction with a client, you have a vision potentially, they have a vision potentially, and now together you're going to come look at each individual vision and then create the third vision. That's the Heartstone. The third vision that you can both buy into, even because you know that that's what the relationship needs. Like, I've been married for 31 years. Obviously, after 31 years, it's not without some conflict. But sometimes I say yes to something that is in the best benefit of the Heartstone of the relationship, even though Allison Levine as an individual says it's not my first choice. It's not really what I would want to do, but I get that for the relationship, it's a really good decision.
I love the analogy of the Heartstone because it almost feels like we each contribute a little bit to
Yes.
build that Heartstone to make it a whole.
Yes, it's sort of like at the end of the day when I work with couples, sometimes they'll say, oh, I don't have any time to connect with my spouse. We're so busy, and my response might be, well, were you too busy to eat lunch? Were you too busy to, brush your teeth? No, these are the things that are in your day. So although you might be exhausted at 8 o'clock at night, the relationship requires that you take 5 minutes to hold hands. Maybe you look at each other. Maybe you snuggle watching a show with your feet touching under the covers. Whatever it is, what is it that you're doing today to nourish this? How are you nourishing it? Same thing with a business relationship, same thing with friendships, same thing with family members. How are you adding to this?
And that is so beautiful. I have no further question. I'm just so I'm curious, Allison, what have you noticed was the biggest struggle? Because I know a lot of people in my group, they're new startup coaches, they're starting out their journey. So they're really early on in that process where they're not quite sure what is a Heartstone that they're trying to build between them and the client yet.
Right.
What has been the biggest struggle that you might be able to personally share with them to inspire them?
I think that for me individually, my greatest struggle in the beginning was making the transition that couples coaching is relatively new. And so the struggle for me was, would it translate and would people really understand what my message was? And was my vision, what I was trying to accomplish, would it come through? And so I think that what I learned from it is when I got really quiet with myself, and I began to really trust my instincts, really trust my training, trust what it was that I felt that I was contributing, and really let the gremlins, if we want to use that language, really let the gremlins go take a nice long vacation in another country and kind of take them out of my mind, right? And fill myself with the evidence. And I think that's a really important word. Fill my mind with evidence of what I know, right? I have graduated from IPEC. I have done other training. I have done the work. And so it's reminding myself constantly to let any of that inner critic that says, what if, to really put it to rest. And I think for me, that was in the beginning, like, I think that it's so normal for us to we think it's normal to doubt and doubt and doubt. And the minute I really said, you know what, the doubt needs to go on a long trip and not return, and really look at the evidence, the training, the time, the investment, and my own character. And for your listeners, looking into their own character to say, who am I? What am I contributing? And moving forward, and it was sort of a pivotal switch in the beginning when I wanted to doubt and doubt. And I thought, this isn't getting me anywhere, the doubt. So I really just began creating my own mental resume so that I had the evidence that really allowed me to say, go do this. You can do this.
Yeah. I love how you point out looking at the evidence. And I think a lot of people forget that you have an amazing resume from the past already. You're a coach, you're a counselor, you're a therapist, check, right? All these has been checked. And if these are not enough evidence, what more do we need? Yeah.
Right.
And so I'm curious, where did you send your gremlin to?
Yeah, right. Yes. He went to, to Wajilia, to a far off land that no one's ever been to. And I hear he's very happy. So, um, anyways, what I think that what's really important in all of this is that if you, and this is sort of an interesting thought that's just come up for me. I think what happened to me is each time that I would have doubt, I'd actually get more training. So I would just continue to this day, I continue to build my evidence. So I'm always in search of more things to learn so that I don't even have space in my brain to even contemplate, any of the what ifs. Like there's no room for it. It's just on to the next training, on to the next learning, looking at my clients' results as additional evidence that things are great. All I have to do is look at that little picture of that baby and say, well, if that's not evidence that what you do matters and that you're making a contribution into this world greater than yourself, then that's all I need.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I love how you keep reinvesting in yourself. And
Yes.
and interesting because I was talking to someone else, one of my friends, and I said, like throughout the last 3 years, I keep reinvesting in myself. So I keep signing up different courses, and people are like, "How did you know that?" Well, I sign up courses. How do you know how to tell a story? I sign up courses. So I keep learning and picking up those skills, like you said,
Yes.
just keep reinvesting in ourselves. So I'm also curious. So once you decided that couple therapy, well, nah, excuse me,
Couples coaching.
couple
Yeah.
coaching is really the things that you want to focus on, you want to go in that route. What was how did you how did you start spreading the word? Like what are some of the strategy that you've been using?
So some of them might be unique to me, but I think it can translate. So I have a relationship with a marriage therapist, and she runs a premarital couples workshop 3 times a year in my area. And since COVID, it actually went online. And I am a co-facilitator of that weekend workshop. And so that is actually a funnel of clients because the couples sign up for this weekend. They get a whole bunch of tools and information. They meet me. And then when the workshop is over, many times a percentage of them will call me and say, we really liked meeting you. We want to work more with you. So putting myself in front of a lot of young couples, newly married couples is one funnel of my client base. The other is I spoke with clergy in my area. Clergy is a really great resource because clergy always meets people at different crises points in their life. Whatever your religion is, the clergy can send clients to you because they do also refer to therapists. And if you can educate them on what coaching is, I found that clergy is really happy to refer clients. So that was another area that was referred to me. In addition to that, really just word of mouth through my social network, my friend group, my husband's business networks, is that whenever I'm at a cocktail party, honestly, whenever I'm at a group setting, people will say, oh, what do you do? And then I'll say, oh, I'm a couples coach. Oh, really? What is that? Yeah. And I'll say, well, it's taking two people who may already have a really nice relationship and taking them into something that's extraordinary. And who wouldn't want that?
Ooh, tell me more, right?
Right. It's like we all have these, there are a lot of the science says that couples wait like 7 years to go to therapy. And by that point, it's almost too late for them. They have waited like way too long. I'm into what I call relational wellness. So it's almost the way you might eat well, you might work out, whatever you do for your own self-care. Couples coaching is like another self-care category. Like, how do we keep our relationship healthy and strong? It actually doesn't have to be in trouble to go to a coach.
Mm-hmm. And so
I think that's how I'm building it, is by educating people on why there's value in it.
And I hear a lot of like networking. So you're like going and attending and there it sounds like there's a consistency where you keep showing up every week.
And sometimes I laugh, like sometimes I'll be at some event and no one's really asked me what I do. A lot of times people want to know how my children are. How's your children? How's your children? And I had to figure out how to change the conversation from me talking about my vacations or my children and really educating them on what it is that I'm doing now. And so that's kind of been a little bit of finesse that you have to get good at your little bit of your elevator pitch, right?
Ah.
How do you translate your in 30 seconds or less? How do you say, oh, by the way, this is what I'm doing, and have it not feel like a sales pitch, but really that I want you to get to know me. And by the way you get to know me is me telling you what I do.
Would you be open to do a little demo for us?
Sure.
So, Allison, tell me about your kids. I heard they're grown up and they're moving out of the house. Well, so what's up with you guys nowadays?
Oh, so you know what's been amazing, and I don't know if this has happened to you because I know your kids are the same age as mine. It's like I feel like sometimes it's like there's like a cassette. Remember back in the day when our cars used to have like a 5 CD player? Right. Well, it's like sometimes I think our brains are like that. Like one CD is family, one CD is kids, one CD, you have all these like CDs. Well, my kids are like gone. And so like the CD got pulled out and so exciting. I had this like space and I didn't like, how was I going to fill that space? And so for like the last 4 years, I've really been investing in becoming a relationship coach. And so that's really at the heart of who I am right now. I've been very busy working with, individuals and couples on moving their relationships forward.
Oh, well, tell me more about this relationship coaching.
Well, a lot of people, I don't know if you've ever been to therapy before, but a lot of people go to therapists because they perceive that they have sort of a problem. Well, what's really beautiful about what I do is I look at relationship coaching sort of like self-care. It's relational wellness. So you might have, you work out in the morning, you might eat really well, you do those things to make your body and your mind feel better. But when you work with a relationship coach, like the people that I work with, I help them make their relationship healthy and strong. So we work on communication skills, tools, vision, goals. It's such fun work. We have the best time.
Oh my gosh. I think I need to work with you. But like my husband he's probably totally against it.
Yeah, you know what? That's totally understandable. I get that. I have a lot of like sort of reluctant spouses. Let me ask you, Michelle, what would be something that would motivate him, do you think? What's he all about?
Well, he wants to sit home on his couch watching the Sunday football or Monday football and not being bothered. And there I am. I'm like washing dishes and cleaning up the house, doing all the laundry myself.
Yeah, that's hard. I can imagine that's difficult for you. And what conversations have you had so far about your relationship together? What kind of conversations have you had already?
I just told him he needs to stop. He needs to stop and get up and help me because we're married. This is not my house. This is our house.
Yeah. How is that working?
Not working out. This is why I need more. How do I get him to sign up?
Sure. How open would he be, do you think, if we were to have maybe just a 30-minute Zoom call to hear from the two of you of how you both feel the relationship is going? How willing might he be to do that?
Maybe I can ask him tonight.
Yeah. So what I can share with you is that if he's willing, that would be amazing. And we could have a great conversation, the three of us, to see, how what I do might work for the two of you. But if you find a roadblock and you're in getting him to come, then I could absolutely work with you individually on some strategies and some communication tools to have the relationship that you want.
Thank you, Allison. See, ladies and gentlemen. Well, ladies, actually, there's no gentlemen now in my group. Ladies, this is how you convert a conversation that focused on children to a relationship.
Yeah, I think that it is, I can understand coaches and the challenge, but I really do think it is a numbers game, right? You're going to attract a percentage of the number of people that you communicate with. But I will say, and maybe this isn't a popular opinion, but it is mine. So I don't have a social media presence at this point. And mostly it's because I really want to invest whatever time that I'm spending. I really want it to be that I'm connecting with people face to face and I know who they are and I'm just spreading the word, because I am getting clients one at a time because I told somebody on a Thursday what I do. They told their girlfriend, and then their girlfriend called me about their girlfriend and their husband, because everyone's talking to everyone about their lives, their families, their relationships. So for me, my strategy really is I need you to meet me and see me, and not just throw out a lot of content and a lot of nice fancy quotes and what have you. So I that's really my strategy. So you're going to need to find whatever is that your listeners need to find whatever works for them. But I say start with the core people who already respect and trust you. Right. And those people, you already have buy-in. They've already known you. Like the people in my circle, the minute I tell them, oh, this is what I'm doing, 9 out of 10 times they're like, oh my gosh, I bet you're great at that. I've known you forever. You've always been a person who's receptive and a good communicator. And I could see how you would be great at that. I should tell my sister, brother, cousin, friend. And that's kind of how it's grown. That's really what it's been.
Mm-hmm. I love everything you said. Oh my gosh, Allison, you're really rocking this, and I love it. I love how you set an intention to whether or not you want to spend the energy where you want it to spend. So there's people who believe that social media is the thing, they want to invest it. Great, that's where your energy goes. But if that doesn't feel right, it doesn't feel good, then don't shift yourself. And there's that inner critic or that gremlin start kicking in and say, well, you need to be on social media. You should be creating more posts. And
Yeah.
you're a perfect example of no, you don't.
Yeah, no. And I think that has been said through IPEC that you don't necessarily need to be a coach. You just sort of are a coach. And wherever you are, you're going to be attracting people, and you're going to just authentically, organically be yourself. And being yourself attracts people to you, right? I don't feel like I don't have like a sales pitch. I actually I'm not selling anything. I'm really providing an opportunity that people can take advantage of to create a sacred space, an hour and 15, and my sessions are 75 minutes, an hour and 15 minutes once a week, maybe for 12 sessions, to really invest in themselves. And how beautiful is that?
Where can couple or where can individual find you?
So they can go on my website, www.allisonlevinecoaching.com. They can do that, or they can email me at allisonlevinecpc@gmail.com. And happy to hop on any conversation. And if any of your listeners really want more, just to really have a conversation about their marketing, their client base, if they just even want just some support from one coach to another, I'd be delighted to get on a call with anyone who wants to call.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think you brought some gift for our listeners with a complimentary 30 minutes call.
Yes, absolutely.
Yay! Well, Allison, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. I know so many women and so many couple are going to benefit from hearing from you. And I love the fact that you know exactly where you are needed most, and you know exactly where you shine the most, and you kind of just stick to it. You set an intention, and you really take all the teaching from IPEC, all the coaching, all the core dynamic into your heart. And I admire you. You inspire me.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to be here, and look forward to really learning more about your membership or your email group. And really, it's impressive all the things that you create as well.
Thank you so much, Allison.
Thank you. Have a good week.
Bye. Bye. All right, I'm gonna put you to the backstage real quick so I can wrap this show up. All right, ladies. You heard it from Allison. Set your intention, know exactly who you are, and really get down to deciding is social media the right place for me? Maybe it's not, and that's completely okay. Send your gremlin onto a long, long trip, and when you are successful, maybe you can invite your gremlin back to a tea party. So with that, I'd like to thank you for watching this show, and remember to come back to the group Friday at 1 p.m. I will be talking and sharing different social media tools that I use to help me managing my time and just have a better life. All right, see everyone soon. Bye.